What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast. We talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So, welcome to Tuesday's episode of the podcast. So, Monday and Tuesday our topics. Wednesday discussion. Thursday's Ask CXSP when I have one, and then Friday's everything else: movies, books, games, and all that cool stuff. Definitely check out the website, theothersideofirewall.com, where you can pre-order the book. So we have a guide that I wrote based like this is a proof. You won't have the bar across yours if you're watching the video, but where I talked to 27 different individuals who are moving, shaking, and glass ceiling breaking in cybersecurity, and I wrote a guide out of it, so it can help you to also break in. So definitely check that out. But without further ado, I'll give you to Shannon.
All right, everybody. This article is from Wired.com, written by Matthew Galt. And the title of this one is The Rise of Vibe Hacking is the Next AI Nightmare, right? So what they're talking about here is hacking being made easier through AI, right? So like pretty much the gist of the article is that AI has gotten to the point, and we've talked about this before, right? To where it's making it easier to accomplish those complicated tasks, right? So like you got one of the things they talk about is in the near future, they're speculating that you have one hacker that may be able to unleash 20 zero-day attacks on different systems across the world all at once. Like one 0 day by itself is always a nightmare, right? Like it's always one of those things where it's like, hey, we got to jump through hoops to try to figure out what we need to do, how many systems are affected. So you can only imagine, like if you could do 20 of them on different systems all at once. This is what AI assisted hackers, this is what the future looks like for them, right? And the point they're making is that you don't necessarily have to have an in-depth knowledge of hacking to be able to implement some of these things that are out there, right? But the more dangerous thing is that what about the people that do have experience with happening that are using AI, right? Like how much more dangerous are they when they actually know what they're doing, right? Stuff that used to take them 2 and 3 days to write, to implement out there, they're talking about can be done in as little time as 30 minutes, right? And what they hit on is the guardrails for AI, right? This one kind of got me a little bit because I kind of somewhat joke about this all the time about the guardrails and them, us just going over them all the time when it comes to the next AI article we read about. But what they talk about in the article is that there are guardrails for this, but they seem easier and easier to get to forego or to go around, right? And I'm not going to go into how they say to do it, right? Because they bring up an example in the article, but I'm like, man, that's easy. That's very easy to do if you just tell the prompt, do this, and you're already, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do it now. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to do it, when I thought you were just being, I thought you were being nefarious, but now you say you're doing this. Oh yeah, sure, I'll make that happen,
Right,
right?
it's too
But
too
that's too
trusting.
easy. Right. That's very trusting. It's very much too easy. But like I said, I won't go into it. But if you read the article, you'll see it in there how they say to do it. It's just it's kind of weird in that they say something in this article. It kind of brought me back to, so not to get into the politics of it, but it kind of brought me into gun safety as well, right? Because one thing that they mentioned was the only way to deal with a bad hacker with AI is to be a good hacker with AI, right? Or something along those lines. What they said. It's the same thing that's used in the gun debate, right? Only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. It's like, well, if everybody has guns, the situation will get dangerous, right? Like it's kind of how it is, and that is the eventuality of what we're going into, right? And I realize AI is not always used for nefarious purposes, right? But it only takes that small population that are using it for that to make it to where it is not a good thing, right? For all the help that you're getting from it, when it may help you with your work and home life and things of that nature, there is always that bottom percent, that bottom, let's call it 3 to 5%, that's using it for nefarious purposes. And this article it lays out some stuff that's just very scary, right? And how it is. But like, if we're being honest, if you watch enough movies, like we already know what AI is going to do to us, right? So let's be real here. But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
Right, you over here brushing up on Terminator and
Yeah.
Robot. Like watching these, like, oh yeah, I'm ready, I'm prepared. Yeah, it's so I like how AI is able to augment us and make us make tasks easier to perform. Right, I use that a lot, and with the podcast, that's why I'm able to create the transcripts and the thumbnails, to which I showed you some nightmare fuel this past weekend when I asked it to do something that made the thumbnail was very creepy. But then also with helping with the newsletter, right? Like I wouldn't be able to write a newsletter every week. I simply don't have the time. So I use the tools to help me out with that, right, as well. So it will be used for good, but then it will also be used for nefarious reasons. Because in my mind, when I initially read this, I was like, oh, well, I hope NSA or CISA or someone does have a version or a product of one of these that does not have guardrails, right? To see what it can do, like to really put it through its paces. But then you remember the NSA breach where those weapons of mass destruction, so to speak, in quotation marks, were leaked, right? The keys to the kingdom were out there in the world, and they're able to use them for nefarious reasons. And they still are. Like we still see some of those tools being used by nation states and things of that nature. So I don't know what to do with it, to be honest with you. Like I want it to be because ultimately I want to find 0 days before they happen, right? Like so if they were able to use this thing in a secure manner, in a, I don't know, air gapped way, we'd be able to find all those holes and things in the internet and protocols that just were never meant to be used for as long as we're currently using them or the way that we're using them. So there's plenty of 0 days that just have not surfaced or been found.
You know what
But
scares me? You know what scares me about what you're saying though? So like when you talk about it being air gapped, right? Like I work daily and I've worked for years in a facility where I cannot have any type of Wi-Fi devices or Bluetooth or things like that, right? But when it comes to the human nature, sometimes people just forget, right? So like that could be the way out. Like we're talking about, oh no, it's air gapped, it's safe.
right,
We took the
right,
guardrails off, but you can't get to anything. Well, if somebody wears their Apple Watch in there and they're not paying attention, right? Like all of a sudden it's like boom, I got access to something to where I can get on out of there, right? Like
right.
there's so many ways for it to get out of that environment that relies on human intervention, right? So that's what scares me the most. Like I said, for years I've seen it, and it's just like, hey, you got to take that out of here. Like that shouldn't be here. Or like I've seen it to where we've actually confiscated stuff. Like somebody will be in the facility, and there's signs everywhere. There's signs everywhere saying, "Don't bring this stuff into the facility." And like there was one guy. It was a maintenance guy. I know we're getting derailed. I'm sorry.
No, no,
It
you
was a
could.
maintenance
It's
guy.
spoken like a true Izzo right now. He's
There was a maintenance guy that came in and he like he had been told when he was escorted, he had been told not to do this, that, and the third. He was like, no, I don't have my phone, this, that, and the third. And then like he had the Apple Watch on. And like he went to look on it when he was with the escort, and they were like, oh no, we gotta take that. So like I had to do the investigation on it. I had to go through it, I had to look at it, say, okay, make sure this didn't, this wasn't happening. That can happen, even if we have, and again, I understand what you're saying, right? You hope somebody with the knowledge and knowing the threats that are out there, right, has the intel and the threats that are out there, can do something with this. Like take the guardrails off, see what the danger can be, or what help it can be, right? They could be the good guys, right? They could also be the bad guys, but we're not gonna go into that. Yeah, man. It's always the human aspect of it always leads to problems though. It's how it is.
no, I agree. Like when the fit rings first came out, I was playing the part of a unit security manager. Oh man, so many dudes with the ring on we get caught. People like you cannot have that. Like, oh, it's not sharing information. Like, I don't care. I'm like, this is one of the things on the list. Can't have these things. All right. So I do feel you on that one. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so it's like, do we not like so because the bad guys don't have rules, right? They're like they probably do. They're just as sophisticated as we are, right? You probably can't go in there skiff either with a bit ring or whatever. But I say to say like we make all these rules to protect our data, to keep things safe, to abide by law, legislation. They don't have that. So like their AI is already off the rails, able to do things it shouldn't be able to do. Meanwhile, we're kind of hamstringing ourselves. But at the same time, again, I point out to those NSA tools. You build things, you use things, and then you lose things. And now the bad guy has those too. So they're it's ultimately it's an arms race. And how do we put ourselves in the winner's seat? That's the hard part.
Especially since you can't put that genie back in the bottle. Like because it's already out
Right.
there. It's not like you're gonna be like, all right, well, nobody uses it and then we'll be safe. No, hell no.
Yeah, I'm not giving up mine. It's like the same thing with firearms. Like no, you can't have it. Like I got it now. Stop the new people from getting them. Like I'll keep them. So it's a weird situation that we're in, and it's only going to continue to get weirder as we continuously mature these models, right? Like right now, they're still not like they have human characteristics, but it's going to get really weird once we get to AGI in the next decade or so, where it's going to be like, does this thing like we're worried about hackers gaining access to these secure areas and rooms and things of that nature to steal stuff. What if it wants to get out? I mean, like smart enough to like, hey, I want to get out of this air gap system. Like that's a totally different situation. So yeah, the future is weird, but um,
Johnny Five will want to be alive. It will happen.
if we ever get to that point, right? Like a lot of people are saying like AGI is not possible still, but these models are very human-esque. But it was also linked like so this very very crazy tangent. I was thinking about this the other day when I was picking up my son from code camp. They're saying that these things are not intelligent. They know when the character comes next. They scrape the internet. They know what to say. They're just mimicking human behavior. It makes you think like how much of our actual thought processes and biases and things of that nature are literally just patterns as well. Like if it's able to mimic us so easily, how real are we? you know, not simulation, just how deep do you have to get to be human, right? Because a lot of things where it's just pattern recognition. It's just like our responses are canned. Like how many times have you told you picked up your tickets and somebody says enjoy the movie, you say you too, but they're not. They're working concessions, right? Like you're just you're on autopilot. Like how much of you is autopilot and now it's being exposed by AI, which is just mimicking us, right? Like oh, this thing's pretty human. Like yeah, but how much are you is actually you?
If we're being honest, a lot of human behavior, I'm not going to say 100% of it, but a lot of it is learned behavior, right? Like the
Yep.
things that you believe, the things that you know was learned, right? It's not like you were born into the world and everything you know right now is already what you know. It's all learned behavior, which is what this is doing. It is learning, right? So you bring up a good point, man. So
Yeah. So again, that's a weird tangent, but continue to check us out. Monday, Tuesday are our topics. Wednesday discussion. Thursdays ask a CISSPs where I sit down and I interview people just like I did for the guide. See this guide right here? You listen to it. All that knowledge is right there. 177 pages of knowledge. So you should definitely pick it up. You can pick it up at theothersidefirewall.com. Pre-orders are up now, and it goes live, or I should say, it will be published everywhere July 8th. So definitely pick up the book if you get a chance. Share it with your friends. And then hit up the websites that go by our name, theothersidefirewall.com, ramcyber.io. Hit me up personally at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me pretty much everywhere, but LinkedIn is where I'm most active. Stay safe, stay secure.